Okay, welcome back. This is Shilpa here, and we are answering the questions on miasms and what are the different types of miasms, what is the exact definition, and how do you really understand them. So we've spoken about Hahnemannian miasms, we've spoken about Kentian miasms, and now let's go on and move to another class of miasms, which are Sankaran's miasm. Now, you have to remember that Sankaran was a Hahnemannian and Kentian homeopath to start with, but he further expanded the Hahnemannian and Kentian miasmatic definitions. So, I'll summarize. Hahnemann proposed that the fundamental cause of chronic miasmatic disease is some sort of an infective agent in the past history. Kent expanded it and proposed the fundamental cause of chronic miasmatic disease is a predisposition that is inherited. So you could have an infection in the parent, but the child inherits the secondary miasmatic patterns and predispositions. Now, Sankaran proposed that the fundamental cause of a chronic miasmatic disease is some sort of a situation. He called it a root situation in the past, or especially in the prenatal or the intrauterine life in one of the parents. It could be mother during pregnancy, or it could be father during conception, or somewhere in the family history to be the cause of chronic miasmatic disease. Now, this is very important. So it's sort of a root situation or some sort of a stressful situation that triggers. Now, this is important because while Hahnemann and Kent spoke about infective agents to be causing it, Sankaran is proposing that there is some sort of a very intense, stressful situation that has actually caused the miasmatic patterns. Now, today, in the light of epigenetics, this holds true to some extent. Remember, I spoke about contemporary Hahnemannian miasms, and there are some non-infectious conditions that can also trigger miasmatic patterns or epigenetic changes which give rise to chronic diseases. So in the light of this makes sense that in some patients it could be a stressful situation that triggers. You might not find any infective agent, or it could have been so many generations ago that today you do not see it. But what he proposed is the fundamental cause of a chronic miasmatic disease is some root situation in the past or in the parents or in the family history, and the way the person perceives this root situation or copes with it, that is the miasm. So according to Sankaran, Psora is due to a root situation where the patient believes he needs to actively struggle, but he's hopeful of getting through. So it's a doable, hopeful situation, but he has to struggle a lot. Sankaran's sycosis is due to a root situation where he believes he's incapable of getting through. However, the patient can compensate by avoiding it or covering it up. And Sankaran's syphillis is due to a root situation that is hopeless, desperate, unmanageable. He believes he cannot overcome, control, nor he can avoid or cover it up. So he is attempting drastic do or die process to regain control. And he went on to propose many more such miasms which were in between these three miasms and their root situations and treatments. So what we are looking at is tracing back into the history of the patient and looking at, is there a root situation, an intense situation where that patient has never been well since, or that patient now has completely changed his perception, and everything and anything he is looking through and pursuing it based on that root situation. And the remedies, he's classified them now based on what sort of situation they have in their understanding of the mental state. So he's classified the remedies which have this intense struggle as antipsoric, with this desperation as antisyphilitic, and with this need to cover up and hide and avoid as antipsychotic, based on the type of root situation, based on the coping mechanism that he is studied through. And treatment involves understanding that situation using the anti-miasmatic remedy that matches the situation based on this coping mechanism. So hope that helps you understand the basic definition of what miasms are, the way they've evolved through time, and more importantly, how we can now use them in our practices. Can every miasmatic understanding or tool be used in all patients? Which are the patients where you can use one which has a much better advantage than the other, and how do you actually use them? That's what we'll cover in the next few videos of this series, and while we are answering the questions as they come up. So hope that helps you get a good understanding of the miasms. If you have more questions, obviously don't hesitate to put them down below, and I'll keep on answering them, and probably, who knows, I might make another series of videos based on that. Thank you very much.